It's coming this way. Wait a minute, hey, I'm ghosted!
By Roz Hernandez.
Oh no. I hope I'm not cursed, because I am joined today by filmmaker Liam Le Guillou. Did I say it right? I did say it right.
Yeah, that was great. God,
why am I American? You're British.
Mm-hmm.
So you do this film,
Mm-hmm.
A Cursed Man, which I don't even know how I stumbled upon it. It just like came across my desk somehow. And I was so intrigued just by the premise alone, which is you're looking to get cursed.
Absolutely. I mean, as ridiculous as that sounds, I thought it'd be a good idea to go out and just see what would happen if I put a curse on me. I mean, why not, right?
So before you embarked on this journey, where were you at on any of this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be interested in this world to even think about doing something like this. So I've been a lifelong fan of everything spooky, everything supernatural, and I've sort of studied it, as a layman and just been interested in it my whole life. There's certainly some family elements. My family were into this kind of stuff. And so I've always been around it, but never seen any proof. If anyone who's been fascinated by this, you want to know, right? You want to know where's the proof.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, if I haven't seen anything, my take is it might not be true. So I don't really think anything would really happen to me. So instead of like going looking for a ghost or whatever, a million people have done that already. I figured, why not go put a curse on me? Let's go for the big guns.
It's interesting because I've done a lot of ghost hunting, and in some ways I feel like I've become more skeptical of all of this stuff as I go out and look for it, because I'm just always like, okay, maybe it's true for other people, but for me, I'm like, I just don't trust myself most of the time. But then I have had a couple of things happen where I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is something. So before you had done this film, you're living in England. Isn't everything haunted in England?
I mean, yeah, you think so, right? All of our buildings are super old. Like people say, oh, this building here in LA is like, it's like 60 years old. And I'm like, that's a newborn.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, we have all of this history. I grew up on an island, actually. I'm from the UK, but I'm from the British island of Jersey, the original Jersey. And it's an island that has medieval castles on it. And we get to play in medieval castles. In my almost back garden across the field from where I grew up, there was a Neolithic dolmen site. So Neolithic burial structure across the back garden from me. We have old shit. We do it pretty well.
But like growing up there, were you constantly around friends and family that were like, that they had stories?
Yeah.
But just not you?
Yeah, so I definitely had family. My grandmother felt that she had a psychic ability, and she passed when I was quite young, so I didn't really know or see that much myself. But she said she passed some of that on to my mom, who didn't dabble in anything, but was very much a believer.
What was your grandma's ability? What was her expertise?
She felt that she described herself as a spirit catcher. I don't know exactly what that meant because I didn't get to talk to her about that. But my mom had told me that's how she described herself. Now, my mom didn't practice or dabble too much, but she was told that she had some of this passed on to her, and she suspected that some of it had been passed on to me, which is why I probably have this interest. But my brain's like, I want to know the proof. I'm just going to believe this. I'm not going to go all woo-woo. That's just not my style.
Right.
So I have a deep fascination, but I want to find the evidence. I want to find the truth.
Yeah, me too. I'm very similar in that way. Do you think that you have have you had moments in your life where you're like, how did I know that? Or like, I don't know. Do you think you're a little psychic?
I have had a number of kind of odd experiences.
Like what? Give it to us.
Well, so this one, I had a recent one actually, and it comes after the back of the film. So we can talk a bit more about like what I did with the film after. But after going through the film, after going through all the processes and things that I did, I was out. I felt like whether I got cursed or not, we'll talk about that in a moment. But afterwards, I felt like I'd come out of the other side of all of this. And I was coming back from a friend's house in North Hollywood somewhere, and my car was parked on the street, and it was kind of late mid-evening, 9 o'clock something. I was coming back to my car, and North Hollywood area, a coyote just walks down the street. That's not unheard of in LA for anyone who's lived here. Like, it happens for sure. But it walks down the street. It stops directly in front of my car, the door that I needed to get in to drive home. It stops and it turns and it just looks at me, and it dead eye looks at me for like 20, 30 seconds. And I'm thinking, what is happening right now? I mean, he's looking at me, and then he's just like, okay, that's enough. And he just turns and walks off again. I thought, okay, it just felt eerie, but whatever, make of that as what you will. I get on the road, I'm heading home, I'm driving down the 405, 15 minutes or so later, for anyone else out here in LA knows it, huge road, lots of traffic. All of a sudden, all the brake lights up front start coming on, everyone's stopping. I'm like, oh, what's happened now? And I move over the lanes to try and get around it. Just everything slows. By the time I get to it, people are just getting out of their cars. There was a big pileup, maybe 5 or 6 cars smashed into each other.
Terrifying.
About 15, 20 seconds in front of me in the lane that I was in. So if that coyote hadn't stopped me for 15, 20 seconds, I may have been right in the middle of that.
Oh my God.
And that to me, made me think, wow, this spooky stuff is like around me right now. And am I out of this cursed situation? Am I blessed now? What's going on?
You better go find that coyote, be friends with it. Maybe it can keep you away from all kinds of stuff. Right.
I mean, I spoke to one of the witches who was involved in the film about that afterwards. And this happened like a year or so after we'd really been through the film. And she said to me, the coyote in Native American folklore is a trickster. It plays on destiny. It likes to disrupt what was supposed to happen. And so she said, yeah, I mean, it could be a good thing, or it could just be you're kind of intertwined in this world now, and the trickster just wanted to let you know what's going on. Look, make of that what you will. You can always, I'm not saying that's proof of anything supernatural, but when these things start happening, you definitely raise an eyebrow.
I mean, it could also be because this is Los Angeles, and even our wildlife is trying to get into the movies, and that coyote knew you've directed some films and was like, wait a minute, hey, and was trying to give you their headshot or something.
He or she was very charismatic, so I should have taken down the details and talked about that.
Just saying. I always say I've been to over 100 psychics. I'm constantly going to psychics because same thing where I'm like, I wanna see. I don't know. I want one to tell me something. There's no way they would have known, or what. It's just an experiment I've done for myself. But at least it's like no one's gonna get hurt. Whatever. But a curse. You're crazy.
I've been getting that a lot. I still find it really hard to justify. People say, why would you do this? Why a curse? Why? And honestly, I struggle to answer that. I really struggle to answer that because it is ridiculous. Who would do that? And the reality is, I think if I 100% believed in this world, I wouldn't look for a curse. So I absolutely went in as a skeptic, as an open-minded skeptic. But I also saw it as a unique thing that I haven't really seen anyone do before.
Yeah, totally.
Because who would, right?
Were you raised with religion or anything like that?
Yeah, so my mum, we have churches on every corner in the UK, right? Really old, beautiful, stunning buildings. And so my parents sent me to a Sunday school, a Christian Sunday school, when I was very young. I think I went 3 or 4 times and was like, what's all this mystical guy all about? It wasn't for me. I didn't buy into it.
You were skeptical of that.
I was. And so, but also there was a reverence to it because of these amazing buildings. You knew this was important. But I don't know, it didn't really click for me. So I was like, well, how about parapsychology? Can I read about that instead? Mm-hmm. And so I started reading about that stuff since I was like 10 or 11 years old. I was very young when I really started nerding out about that stuff.
Yeah, I've been thinking so much lately about critical thinking in our society and how, that's how I like to approach that kind of these unseen, unexplained type things. It's like I want to think of it critically rather than just being like, okay, I believe you. And so I think that, like, okay, today was supposed to be the rapture when we're recording this. Did you hear
Right.
about this?
I've heard about that, yeah.
It has not happened.
Not yet. It's not the end of the day yet, though.
The day's
midday.
The day's not. I've been looking forward to this, but apparently it has not happened. But there's surely thousands of people that have heard about this and are like, okay, people are telling me it's the rapture today, so let's sell my belongings. By the way, I don't know how many of these people are like donating all their things to charity or giving all their money away to I don't know what they're doing in that regard, but they're under the impression that the world is going to end.
I mean, for me, I think this isn't my first rapture. Okay, I've been around a little while now.
Yeah,
we're all going to die. Y2K thing. There's been the Halley-Bob comet thing. There's been a whole bunch of raptures and end of worlds. Yeah, 2012, Mayan calendar stuff. I'm. Excuse me for not believing too much on all of that, and just like, well, we'll see how it goes.
It's hard when like, okay, so then it doesn't happen. Like, how are you going to get your way out of, how are you going to explain this one away? Like, I don't know. But, there's having these beliefs can do a lot of great for a lot of people. But also certain things, it's like, come on now. You really think that's going to happen? I don't know. All of a sudden I beam up. That'd be amazing. Wait, so, okay, so you go on this journey. Mm-hmm. You've decided to go the curse route. Did it cross your mind at all to try something like psychics or and you just went right, you're like, curse, let's do it.
We're going 0 to 60. We're getting straight into it. Yeah, I went, I had this idea. Nobody's done the curse thing before, and I didn't want to make a film that everyone's heard and seen before. He goes looking for a ghost, or he goes looking for this. I wanted to do something new, and I wanted to do something that was like, okay, if we're going to do it, let's go all in. I went looking for the curse. And I also knew this was going to be ridiculous. Who am I going to find to do this? Because instantly, it's hard enough to get anyone who has a spiritual practice to show you any of their spiritual practice.
Right.
And then, let alone get a curse. So I figured everyone's going to slam the phone down, shut the door in my face. Yeah. And I got a lot of that. My first few weeks were like, okay, I've told everyone we can do this. And I don't know how I'm going to do this.
I'm trying to remember because I saw it a couple of months ago. Mm. Did you ever go the eBay or Etsy route?
No, so there's a shot in the film where I reference that happens, like I'm looking on the screen, but I didn't do that. I know that people have been doing that as a big thing on TikTok, getting like curses and stuff on there. I didn't want to get a mail order curse, I really wanted to get out there. We needed to film something.
Yeah, I feel like once USPS gets it, like things get it loses its value, the curse.
Exactly. It just comes undone in the postal service.
It's a lot.
A little delay.
Yeah, totally. And it's encountering a lot of people. And you want the straight direct to consumer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. Because, that's another thing is like objects. Like some objects will give you a curse. Did you encounter that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, that was something we looked at. I figured, we could go looking for cursed objects or cursed locations. And then that was just going to spiral the film bigger than we needed to be. We needed to focus. Find a curse, put it on me, and see what happened. And of course, people said, why would you do that to yourself? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to curse someone else. I mean, I'm not going to go out and say, okay, look, we all have people we don't like in the world and maybe wish weren't around in the world. But it's completely unethical. It's not something I was going to do to try and put a curse on anyone.
Because what if it does work?
Imagine, right? So I'll do it to me, and then we see what happens, and then maybe I could get myself out of it if it did work or not. We'll see.
So I don't want to give it all away to the people listening, but who are the different practices you went to? So you went to some witches.
Yeah. So first of all, starting on my doorstep. So who's around? So I'm reaching out to anyone close to me. And I found a witch's coven here in LA.
Wasn't it the Green Man?
Yeah. So it's a Green Man store, and they have a coven that operates out of there. It's called the Ked Coven. And this just happens to be a British witch who happens to live here. Mm-hmm. And he answered my call and said, okay, you sound crazy, but you also sound authentic. And so I want to try and talk you out of this. So he says, let's come along, let's have a chat. You can film what you want and I'll try and talk you out of it. So we had this, and I was determined though at this point. I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. So he set me on my journey. He did a little spell for us, which is amazing. A spell to help me find what I was looking for, but he hoped it wouldn't be a curse. And off I go. And then the journey takes me to New Orleans, where we look at voodoo and hoodoo practitioners down there. And look, without giving away too much, but I also want to let the audience know that stuff goes on. Yeah, I do find a curse in New Orleans. And you'd think that would be enough, but no, I'm kind of on a mission now to see lots of different magical practices. I'm excited by it. So we go to India, and we went looking for tantrics in India. We have a spiritual experience and ritual there. And then I continue on to Mexico, and it kind of like gets even bigger in Mexico. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this film. I kind of wanted as much magic as I could find.
I mean, it is really fascinating to see. It's a part of culture. I was just in New Orleans, and it's such a special place in America, and there is so much culture. I mean, obviously, so many different cultures that have come together to create this, I don't know, energetic whirlwind. I don't know. When you're there, you're just like, wow, there's something has happened here. There's stuff going on in this place.
Yeah, I mean, it's got that energy of like an old world city, right? You feel it, and it feels European to me. It has that sort of European energy, and so yeah, it's alive, it's electric, and it's it's walkable in the center of it, and so you're in and amongst everything, which feels great. That feels European. So I think that creates an energy, and whether or not that's a supernatural energy, I don't know. A lot of people talked about that stuff, but you feel it. And so New Orleans for me was amazing, and one of the absolute highlights of my trip. And finding someone to put a curse on me down there was crazy. And I also found a number of people that really got upset with me for looking for a curse down there. They were like, what are you doing?
Right.
This is ridiculous. And I think it's important to keep all sides of this story in the film. And I wanted the film to be balanced and objective. And I wanted people to see, okay, here's the reasons why you shouldn't be doing this. And here's the reasons why, okay, well, maybe we do test ourselves in our spiritual practice. And so there's a bit of both sides of that journey. And so that was sort of fun to take on.
Yeah, because I imagine if you're one of these practitioners and you obviously believe very strongly in all of this, it's such a moral dilemma for them. It's almost like assisted suicide or something in their mind, I would think, right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we go to see a chap called Prince Tyamaka, who's a wonderful voodoo practitioner, and he really takes me to task on this. He's like, "What are you doing? Like, this is almost you coming in as he rightfully points out, as a white person coming into our practice looking for a curse. Almost seems entitled that you're coming into our and doing this." But he actually said that to me on the phone before we went down there, and I said to him, "You're right. I need to be aware of this. Can we do this on camera?" And he goes, "Well, I'm not going to do this for you. I'm going to tell you off, if anything." And I went, "Please, I want to hear that point of view. I don't want to keep that out. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm not aware of this. I'm still on this search to find magic, and maybe I won't carry it on, or maybe I will, but you come, tell me." So we do that, and he was wonderful. And so, in the film, he definitely lets me have it. And I think that's important. It's an important, valid point. I really struggled after that because he didn't hold back, and I genuinely was really upset afterwards. And I went, look, I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes here. I'm genuinely trying to seek and find out for myself. People say they have this ability to create curses. Will it happen to me? Could it happen? So it was I really struggled because I didn't want to upset people. I didn't want to make this despite looking for curses, a negative film. And then the next day or two, we found Sen Elias in New Orleans, and I called him up, and we'd already spoken on the phone. I said, "Are you still prepared to, talk about this and do this?" He said, "Come down, come see me. Let's do a reading, and we'll go from there." So I'm like, so I kind of like was then letting the sequence of events unfold. I could have stopped the film right there after being told not to do it. That wasn't really in me. I was still hungry, but we went to see Sen Elias. He did a reading, and he was like, "Okay, I see stuff for you to learn through this." And so he said, and I asked him, "Were you still prepared to do this?" And he went, "Yeah." And he has this wonderful line. He goes, "Yeah, but now it's going to be a lot more fun." And his energy, I mean, I genuinely think I'm deeply proud of this as a cinematic moment and experience. We film an actual curse being wrapped around an old coffin nail, around a piece of my hair that he cuts off, into a charm to be worn around my neck to literally curse me. And his whole energy changed. He's such a warm, really friendly guy. And when he was working this negative magic, it got scary. I was genuinely at that point, oh shit, what have I just done?
Yeah.
And he ties this thing around my neck. And a funny story, right afterwards, he cleanses himself with this cleansing lotion. And then he asks the crew, "Did any of you guys want anything?" They couldn't grab the bottle fast enough off of him. One of my cameramen, Sam, was pouring this around his neck. He was just like, "Get it on me." We were all freaked out a little bit. And that was definitely a moment when I went, oh, this is real. I just did this. Okay. Yeah, here we are. What happens next?
So do you feel like that one started to work?
Yeah, so in the film, it's really condensed. You got 90 minutes to try and tell the story. And we filmed and made this over a year or so. And so over the year, so it definitely did. I started having these dreams. It started in my dreams. I had a lot of really bad nightmares. And the sense of anxiety starts to come on. This is the thing that's interesting about this. Like, what is a curse? Is a curse psychology? Is a curse something we tell ourselves and we make ourselves believe? And also, how powerful is our subconscious? Because that's working 24 hours a day, driving our psychology. And so I've just put myself under a curse. And so this is happening under the hood, as you were. And so this is happening. I'm having these dreams. I'm feeling this anxiety. Like my wife would come home late from work, and I'm like, oh, I hope there wasn't a traffic accident. Or once you start living a life like that, you start feeling it, and that starts to seep into you physically. If you're feeling tense, if you're feeling that anxiety, it starts to creep into you. So some people are like, "You got cursed, buddy. That's what you wanted. You got a curse." Some people would say that's psychology. I think the two are really intertwined, and I don't know that I could easily differentiate which is which.
Well, especially if you have a bunch of different curses, it's like, which one is doing this?
Right. So despite that, right, so I've got this, I'm starting to feel anxiety, but I'm still like, well, let's go. We'd planned earlier on, like India's on our list of places we wanted to go. So we hopped on a plane. I think this might upset some people, but I still have the curse around my neck when I hopped on a plane, and it was only ever meant to harm me. I was very careful about that. And we hop on a plane, we fly to India. Interestingly enough, we missed a connecting flight, and we almost, because of our visa situations, I wasn't sure we were actually going to be allowed into India. So I was
Cursed.
like, curse is starting to work. I'm scratching my head trying to figure out how do we get over this visa situation we've messed up, and so curse. And but we get to India and we go looking for magic practice there, and just a beautiful, wonderful experience to find and look for people in India as well.
I wonder if it works the same if you want it. You know what I mean? 99.99% of the time you hear about someone's cursed, whether it's real or not or whatever, it's like someone put the curse on them, or they somehow did something that got them cursed. It's never people asking for it. So I just wonder, I wonder if, if any of this is real, these curses, if that, which by the way, I'm skeptical of curses, but if anyone listening to this is a witch or whatever, please, I don't want to find out, which is how I approach all of this stuff. I'm like your crew members. I'm like, I'll put this all over me. I don't care. Was your crew skeptical, or where were they on it?
Yeah, I think they were skeptical, but they were also a lot more cautious. I noticed they started wearing like black tourmaline trinkets and things to like, grab that negative energy. They went and got some protection. So yeah, they were just in case. And I don't blame them for that at all.
How is your wife with this?
So my wife is a mental health therapist. So she's very practical minded, and she's very much like, I don't believe in this. I don't think this is going to have an effect on you. Because obviously I asked her at the beginning, like, are you going to be cool with this? So I go run around looking for curses. She was like, yeah, do me one favor though. Just make sure your life insurance is up to date.
Yeah.
Which is a fair comment. And I think that's also more to do with going into the jungle of India and like the jungles of Mexico looking for curses with people you don't know. People who are open to the idea of practicing harmful magic. Who knows who you're going to find? Especially
if you're like going out in the woods or wherever.
Yeah. I mean, particularly in India, we struggled to find anyone who would practice magic. And it's important to note that in India, black magic is outlawed. It's illegal to practice in India. So it wasn't going to be easy for anyone to just come up and say, yeah, I'll do that for you, and do it on camera and get myself into trouble. So I didn't realize that actually it was that illegal until we got there. So we had a time of trying to figure out how do we navigate this, and we kept asking people, and eventually we found someone who was like, I have a place. It's deep in the jungle. It's 2 miles into the jungle. We can only do this at night. It's full of wild animals, and wild animals do attack people in India in the jungles.
And what are we talking, wild animals?
Oh, we're talking, tigers and, things that will prey on you. You won't know they're coming until they're eating you. And so, and they were like, okay, we can only go up there at night. We can't come back down. We have to sleep up there on the top of this mountain at night. And yeah, these are my terms if you want me to practice. And he works with a spirit called a spirit that is around black magic and magic in India, and I've forgotten the name of the deity. It'll come back to me. But and he said, I can open up this portal and she will judge upon you what she should give you. And he said, look, if she wants to cut off your head, she'll do it. I'm like, okay, so this is all quite worrying. Other tantric practitioners in the area told us, hey, don't go with this guy because he's new in the area. We don't really know him. And so, but nobody else was prepared to show us anything. So I was like,
you're there. You got the cameras.
We spent like a week in India, like running around looking for this. I'm like, so there was definitely a moment my crew and we had a talk, and they were like, Liam, we don't think you should go up there. We don't want to go up there, and we don't think you should. So I said, cool, let's sleep on it and we'll all decide in the morning. And I called my wife that night, actually. I called my wife and said, hey, I'm going to go do this crazy thing. And she's like, look, I trust your instincts to take care of yourself. I've been a documentary filmmaker in all sorts of unusual places for 20 years. She said, look, you've got good instincts, but just do me a favor, like just really take care of yourself and make like sensible decisions. So I decided I wouldn't take the crew up there. I didn't want to put anyone else at risk. And I decided to take a camera and some GoPros, and I'd go do it on my own. And I felt that I was, for a number of reasons, I felt I was safe enough to do it. I have a location producer there who I've worked with before in India. I spoke to him a lot about this person, and he's an amazing judge of character. He's worked in war zones before. And between us, we felt safe. And then the next morning, one of my camera guys was like, hey, I've thought it through. I want to come with you. And another cameraman I knew was on the fence. So I told him we needed some more B-roll footage somewhere else. And he was super excited to go get that and not come with us. And so, yeah, we went up, and, I'm still here to talk about it. So,
well, at that point in the journey, how much were you starting to believe that this cursed stuff is a little real? Or
yeah, well, I mean, this was India was still fairly early days on since I got the curse in New Orleans. It's still weeks after, I think. So I'm still beginning to feel this sense of anxiety. Like, if anything bad's going to happen, it's going to happen now. Like if I'm going to meet the evil versions of the Jungle Book coming out to eat me tonight, it's going to be...
You have your curse necklace on. You're going to the tigers.
Yeah. So... if anything bad's happening, it's coming now. So there was always that at the back of my mind. You can't help for wildlife. I can protect about other things, but I'm a bit worried about it. But I went for it anyway, and that experience, I won't say too much of what happens up there, but that experience is more of an enlightening experience for me about my journey. And it opened up some things in my mind about what I was actually looking for. Mm-hmm. So, we come back from that, and that's definitely probably a good point to stop. But right from the beginning of this, I'd heard about this event that happens in Catemaco in Mexico. And it's called the Night of the Witches. And it's when a whole bunch of witches, brujos, get together and celebrate their craft. And it's a huge event, and there's hundreds of them down there. And I thought, this is just an amazing experience. We've got to go see it. And so I'm like, if I'm going down there, I can't just go down there and just get B-roll footage. Like, I got to go look for another curse.
Get another one.
Yeah. Why not, right? And so I go down there. I go looking for another curse, and I find a brujo who practices his spiritual practice with a chap called Satan.
I heard of that one.
Yeah, we may have heard of him, and he sees Satan as a fallen angel, but an angel nonetheless, and an angel that can help humans with their day-to-day lives, trivialities, and whatnot. And I'm like, cool. So could he put a curse on me? And he laughed the first time. He said, never in my experience have anyone ever asked me this question. Can you put a curse on me? And so I was like, yeah, I kind of get that a lot. And he said, okay, we can do it. But how this is going to work is I will take you to my place where we worship and we work with Satan in a cave, again, deep in the jungle. And you've got to go to this place. And now it feels like an Indiana Jones story of getting there. We have to cross a lake in probably the smallest boat in all of Mexico. And then we climb up into the jungle again at night. We arrive at the cave, and it's just erupting with bats. Thousands and thousands of bats streaming out of this cave. And again, one of my camera guys was like, I'm not going in there. It's the bats flying everywhere. And I'm like, well, we came all this way. I got to go look for this. And so we do go into the cave, and I do enter into what turned out to be a blood pact with Satan in order to seek my demise, as it were. And I think what was in a way more scary about this one was the fact that I had to write what I wanted to happen. And I had to petition that to Satan and then bring it upon myself. So at this point, I'm now really, really cursing myself. The previous one was a charm given to me by someone else.
Right.
But this one was me really asking for it. And that's where we get into that psychology again. Now I've really brought this onto myself. So whether it is Satan doing what Satan likes to do, or whether or not it's me doing it to myself, I'm deep in this now. And definitely life began to get a lot harder.
Well, because that's the thing, like, manifesting and all of that sort of idea, which I believe, like, if you're putting out negativity or you're asking for trouble, you you certainly have a better chance of finding it than not, I would think.
Yeah, when you go looking for this stuff, and I do speak to a psychologist about this in the process, and she's like saying, look, you're doing this to your subconscious, and we're not in control of our subconscious. Like, this is going to start this is going to start affecting you, whether or not you believe or not. This is going to start affecting you. Now, of course, all the people who come from a spiritual background saying, well, yes, this is going to start affecting you. You've just engaged with some of the worst spirits possible. Like, you're in trouble, buddy. And so I really did begin to I started getting terrible headaches, really awful headaches. I started having terrible, terrible nightmares. The anxiety was through the roof. I really was beginning to live this, and I'm thinking, what have I done to myself? And I will say, one of the dreams, I think one of the moments when the dreams got really bad was I actually had a sleep paralysis experience. And it's happened to me twice in my life. Once when I was very, very young, and I felt there was a spirit in the room with me when I was very, very young, and it terrified me. And for anyone who's ever experienced it, it's horrible. You wake up, I'm frozen to the bed. I couldn't move. I felt like there was this spirit in my room. That happened when I was young after an awful, awful dream. And then it happened to me again. And so I'm in my bedroom at home. I'm with my wife. I wake up. I cannot move. And I swear I can see a shape in my doorway watching me. I was genuinely like, this is messing. Now, either there's a demon in my house, or I have messed up my psychology and my subconscious. That could be with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And well, you asked for this, right? That's what people would say. And so at that point, I thought, I need to find my way out of this. I need to undo this, because regardless of what's happening to me, something is happening to me.
Yeah, that is a really interesting thing to think about, the subconscious aspect of it, because I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time on this podcast. And honestly, what I'm realizing talking to you is that I'm not as skeptical as I like to think I am, because I'm like, okay, that's a demon. I got a demon on me, and that's that. So yeah, it is interesting to think, yeah, you're kind of planting these seeds in your brain all the time. So it makes sense that can manifest in different ways. So now that this project is over, how's it changed your beliefs?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I mean, I would like to say, having come through it, I have found the evidence I was seeking for the supernatural. Like a million people have done that before me. I mean, people like Houdini himself was a complete, hooked on this, trying to find the proof. He didn't as much as I haven't either. I have found that it did affect me for sure. So I've learned for sure the words we tell ourselves, the very least I found, I would say, is the words we tell ourselves and the things we choose to believe and the things we choose to be around can have a really deep effect on us on a subconscious level that really gets into the makeup of who we are. And that will then change the choices we make in our life, the places we take our lives, the people we want to be around, the people we want to be. Everything changes once you start to believe something. And so it's super powerful that you question your own beliefs. It's super powerful that you be careful what you tell yourself. Your inner narrative is hugely powerful. And so at the very least, I found that has all the more, I mean, I felt physical reaction to what was happening to me. So if my brain was doing that to me, I was having a physical response to what my subconscious at least was beginning to breathe. So that's the least I found. The most I found, do I feel like it changed my sort of spiritual beliefs? I don't have the proof for it, but I kind of feel like I'm my toes a little bit more in the water. I feel like I'm just a little bit closer to the psychology explanation might not be 100% it. I feel like there's a little bit more, and I'm just like a tiny bit further over the line. So yeah.
Is there going to be a sequel?
I'm not looking for a curse again.
Yeah.
No way. People keep asking me that. Would you do this again? Is there a sequel? What other countries can you go to? I'm still fascinated by the subject, but I don't want to get cursed again, so I'm not sure how I'll do it as a sequel. I would love to make a show based around people's belief in dark and negative magic around the world. There's so many other practices and countries and spiritualities I'd love to explore, and maybe hear about other people's experiences and not necessarily have one for myself.
Yeah, that's what I'm always wondering with that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm so fascinated by all religions, but I'm also thinking about your findings with the psychological side of things. The typical intended practice is that they put a curse on someone else, like probably them not knowing. So if they don't know that they're being cursed, what do we think there?
Yeah, can it work if they don't know about it? My gut is it doesn't work that way. I mean, I haven't seen proof of it working. I mean, that comes into like, I'm going to curse someone that they don't know about it. And, my experience is that doesn't necessarily work. There's an example in the film where Prince Tayamaka of New Orleans, he explains that someone broke into his house and messed up his altar, and then bad things happened to that guy. So, and I don't know if that guy believed or not, but he wasn't aware of what was potentially happening or around him, and yet bad things happen. So certainly some people believe that they can do that, and that's a thing. My take on it is I think you need to be a bit more aware of what's happening, but that's potentially easy to do as well. And also to sort of speak about why traditionally in like hoodoo and voodoo, why they have this practice of cursing. And they explained it to me for really solid reasons. Like when you are a marginalized community, marginalized people that are, being oppressed, sometimes all we have is this ability to defend ourselves through our magic. So more power to them. And that's why they have this ability. They're not doing it because they want to do negative things. They're like, no, we got some self-defense chops and we'll use it if we need to.
Exactly. Yeah, it's self-defense. What do you think about the famous curses? Like the Kennedy family is one of them. Who's the hot male actor from the 50s that died in the car crash?
That died in the car crash?
James Dean.
James Dean, yeah.
James Dean's car. Do you know about that curse?
Yeah.
That's a spooky one.
Right.
Because a lot of crazy stuff has happened with that one. There's that one I'm obsessed with. And then the other one I'm obsessed with is the cursed movie script. Do you know that one? Atuk?
I'm not sure if I know too much about that one, though.
Basically, it's this movie script where every leading male actor that got offered it died young.
Oh. Right.
But it's like so many of these you can explain away.
Yeah, I mean, there's meant to be curses connected to the Omen film. People around and worked on the film.
Then there's that show, Cursed Films. Did you see that on Shudder?
Yeah.
The Omen one is scary. He was in a plane and it got hit by lightning.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a bunch of things that happened on the Omen curse that, it's scarier than the film potentially. I mean, films like that, I'm a huge horror movie fan, so like The Omen, The Exorcist are huge films for me. But yeah, are there curses connected to them? I mean, bad stuff happens in life. And there's something that, my wife and I said before I went on this. She said, look, bad things are going to happen to you after making this film.
Sure.
And so you need to be comfortable and be able to know the difference of like, okay, this is just things are going to happen. You can't live a life without bad things happening, and be able to separate the two, or else you might be blaming yourself for everything that happens bad for the rest of your life.
Of course. And I think that is something that happens, is that people go, well, I'm cursed, so that's why this happened. Or I'm sure there's people that it keeps them from living life because they're like, my family's cursed or whatever, so I'm not going to do this or that, or I don't know.
I think if people live like that, do something about it. Like, I think that I don't think you even need to believe. This is my point. I don't think you even need to believe that it would work or not work. I think it can work on your subconscious level. And I think that happened to me. I think my subconscious was definitely beginning to make it work. So if you believe you're cursed, even if you're like, I'm cursed, but you don't believe someone could help you or whatever, go do something about it. Find someone who could help you, because even on a subconscious level, that subconscious, like, yeah, but we got that cleanse, we got that shit out of us, we're all good now. That might actually help you.
Yes.
So dude, try it. Why not?
That's what I'm all about. Like the placebo. I don't need to, like, if I'm going ghost hunting or someplace spooky, I bring it all with me. Everything.
Right.
Evil eye, crystals, Jesus, all of it.
Absolutely. Come tooled up.
Why not? You
For
know?
sure. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that's about it. But this is so cool. I'm so happy that you did this.
It's fantastic.
I hope you do more paranormal stuff. Because especially having someone that's like clearly quite fearless and, you know, again, way more skeptical than even me. I think that you should be out there looking for this stuff. I want to watch from the comfort of my own home with my holy water.
I've been described as brave or stupid, and so we'll figure out which
That's
one.
a great place to be.
Right.
So tell people all the things you want them to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, please check out the film. A Cursed Man is available to rent or buy on all the good places like Amazon and Apple. And yeah, check it out. And we can find us on social media. Look up A Cursed Man. We're on TikToks and Instagram. And yeah, find us, join in. I'm actually on there posting and replying. So yeah, if you've got questions, you can find me on that. And yeah, I'd love to know what people think.
Thank you. Don't curse me. I don't want it. If there is something,
I'll keep it to myself. Don't worry, you're safe.
What's that at the foot of my bed? It's spooky and kooky. I'm pretty sure